Hey guys, this is Lawrence of the Ketones and Coffee Podcast. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any of this great content. Introducing now, our guest today is the founder, CEO, and Chief Scientific Officer of ENERGYbits. She is an expert in algae awareness.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I said that right.
Algae, that's good.
Algae, nutrition, beauty, biohacking, mitochondria, and longevity. I love that. She is a national recognized thought leader, seasoned corporate executive, experienced entrepreneur, and a sought-after speaker. She has an MBA, a BA, and is a board-certified health coach. Catharine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. I appreciate being here.
We got Catharine Arnston on our show today, and I'm just gonna jump right in here.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to pronounce algae. Algae, right? Algae.
Yeah.
I had to educate myself real quick there because I myself, I'm not familiar with algae and its benefits. So I love that you're here to, give us a little bit of insight on what it is and what it does. And, you have been on this journey for years, and just learning about you in the past a few days, just before I had you on here, gives me, the vibes of a woman that's on a mission, and you've discussed this topic.
I am serious.
Yeah,
I'm definitely on a mission.
How many years has it been?
12 and a half. I'm getting close to 13 years. So, yeah. So
and to this day, you're not done educating people, leading the way.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. Yeah, we're just getting this party started. So
we're getting a taste today of what that means, right?
And so why don't I just get going?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
All right.
Hey, Ketones crew. If you want to work with me, I just released my one-on-one 60-minute consultation where we will take a deeper dive into your health journey and formulate a plan where you can incorporate the ketogenic diet to fit your lifestyle. If you're interested, take control of your health today. Click the link on the description box below and let's get started. Hey guys, let me tell you about this delivery service that's been a total game changer for my lifestyle. Did you know that it's now possible to get local, fresh groceries delivered right at your doorstep? Well, Instacart gives you unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. And if I can avoid buying non-keto friendly items from supermarkets who psychs you into buying unhealthy foods, plus if it saves me a lot of time and money, sign me up. Instacart is hand-selected by shoppers based on your preferences, so no more rock-hard avocados, and they will keep your eggs safe too. And Instacart will find everything you usually buy and get smart suggestions for new items. And you can get your first order today delivered for free when you purchase over $35 by following the link on the show notes below to let Instacart know that I sent you and to help to support the show. Instacart, never step foot in the grocery store again.
So you're not familiar with algae, and nor is 99% of North Americans. Actually, virtually nobody outside of Asia seems to know about it, even though it's the most studied food in the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop. Yes, it's a crop. It's not a supplement. It's been used in Japan every single day for over 50 years, and they have the best longevity, lowest cancer rates, lowest obesity rates, and great skin and hair. So I just stumbled into algae by accident. As you mentioned, I have an MBA and I'm actually Canadian, although I live in Boston. I've been here for 30 years. And 12, 13 years ago, my younger sister in Canada developed breast cancer. She's fine now, but when she was preparing for her chemo, her oncologist recommended she change her diet to a plant-based diet, and they didn't tell her why or what it was good for, why or what it was. So she called me and her big sister who loves her, and so I just dug into the internet. I didn't know anything about nutrition, just like a lot of your listeners right now. And I found out that an alkaline diet was a plant-based diet because of the chlorophyll and the phytonutrients that do build your immune system. So I did a lot of research. She did go through chemo. She changed her diet to a plant-based diet, and she completely healed, and we celebrate that every year. But in the process of helping her, as I learned about plants and the nutrients found in them that were pretty amazing for your health, and nobody was talking about plant-based nutrition 13 years ago. I thought, man, somebody's got to tell the rest of the world about this. So I gave up my corporate career, my 25-year corporate career, went back to school, studied nutrition, taught nutrition, plant-based nutrition for a year, and this is what led me to algae, because what I found was that everybody knows they should probably eat more vegetables and greens, but there were too many obstacles. Vegetables are heavy to carry home from the grocery store. They take a long time to cut, to clean, to cook, to eat. There's endless arguments at the dinner table with children and husbands to eat their vegetables, and there's a lot of spoilage. I mean, tomatoes go bad after about 3 or 4 days. They go slimy and whatever. So I thought, okay, I need to find something that gives people the nutrition of vegetables without any of the headaches or any of the work, any of the stomach distress, any of the arguments. And I didn't know what I was going to find, but I just kept digging. And I finally found algae, which was one of the many things I'd found for my sister. But as I lifted the hood and started to do research on it, it turns out that, first of all, algae is the most alkaline food in the world. That box was checked. It's been endorsed by NASA for 50 years as the most nutrient-dense food in the world. NASA says algae has 1,000 times more nutrition than any other fruit or vegetable. 1 to 1,000. That's crazy, right? Also, United Nations has endorsed spirulina algae, that's one of the algae we're going to talk about today, as the answer to world hunger because it has the highest concentration of protein in the world. Spirulina has 3 times the amount of protein as steak or chicken. There's nothing in the world with more protein than algae. By the way, there's nothing in the world with more chlorophyll than algae. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula. So, and then I found out that it's the most studied food in the world. As I mentioned, algae is food. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. Algae is not made in factories like supplements are. It's a food crop. Spirulina is grown in fresh water. Both of them are grown in fresh water. This is a spirulina farm. This is a chlorella farm. So we call our algae bits because they're tiny tablets, which I'll show in a minute. But we grow them in fresh water, air dry them without heat, and then we press them into little tablets that we said as I said, we call bits because they're bits of nutrition. And there's so much nutrition in each tablet that it equals the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. And that's using that quote from NASA that 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits and vegetables. So now it's easy to get the nutrition that you need effortlessly. You don't have to ever eat vegetables again if you don't want to. Each one of these little tablets has the same nutrition as that entire plate. And here's what they look like. This one's spirulina. It's a blue-green algae. And this one is chlorella, which is a green algae. You can see the differences in the colors. And we're going to talk about the two different algae and what they do. But what I want people to understand is, first of all, algae was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago. Algae is everywhere. It's its own food category. It's not a fruit, and it's not a vegetable. It started in the water. So its own food category. And there's macroalgae, which is seaweed, only found in the sea. That's why it's called seaweed. High fiber, high iodine, but virtually no nutrition. And that's what we're talking about today, but I just want you to know what that is. That is a type of algae. We're talking about microalgae, which is microscopic in size. About 1,000 or 1 million of these microalgae would fit on the head of a pin, and they're everywhere. Seaweed is only in the ocean. Microalgae is everywhere. It's in the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the soil, your swimming pool, your aquarium. It's everywhere. But they're all toxic to humans because whatever's in the water gets absorbed by algae. So the only 2 that are harvested as food crops are spirulina and chlorella. So if you go, these are fresh water. These are grown in fresh water. I have to keep saying that to people so they get it. It's like how they grow lettuce or tomatoes. It's in fresh water. It's not from the ocean. Yes, there is algae in the ocean, but it's not spirulina or chlorella. So, and we're known for having the highest quality algae because we grow ours in triple filtered spring mountain water. We don't use high heat to dry it, and we don't use any binders. So that's why we're sold through doctors and chiropractors and functional medicine. But there is algae in the ocean. When you see an algae bloom and you read about it in the news or online about the blue-green algae bloom, we're not talking about spirulina or chlorella. It's a different algae. It's a blue-green algae, but it's not spirulina. So I just want to re-emphasize that because people get freaked out when they think, oh my God, it's toxic. I can't have algae. Yeah. Yes, in fact, you're going to need algae if you want to survive. There was an article that was just published in Newsweek. I'll send you the link. That said, algae is going to save the earth. It's going to save the world. They predict in 30 years, it's going to feed everybody in America actually in 20 years. In 30 years, it's going to feed the world. Because all the international agencies, all the countries around the world are recognizing algae is our last shot at getting proper nutrition. It's just, we don't get any nutrition from even if you eat vegetables. The soils are so damaged, there's no nutrients in them. So you're getting fiber and calories, and maybe probably lectins and oxalates, by the way, but you're not getting nutrition. Algae is your last chance to get concentrated nutrition. And the way we make them in tiny tablets, it's effortless. So if you can swallow water, take 5 or 10 of these in the morning, I call it your nutrition insurance. It's actually health insurance, because this gives your body everything it needs to perform optimally in seconds. Seconds. You don't have to do anything. Just swallow them. You can eat them too. I eat them, but anyways, so that's the story of algae. That's the story. Endorsed by every international agency around the world, studied 100,000 studies, used safely for 50 years in Asia. It's as large of an agricultural crop in Asia as the beef industry is in North America. That's how big it is. But the reason you don't know about it is because algae isn't grown here. It's not grown in America. It's not grown in Canada. 99% of the algae is grown in Asia, and 99% of it is consumed in Asia. So you only know what you know. I mean, in Canada, if you live in Saskatchewan, you see lots of wheat fields, or you might, in Ontario, you might see, cornfields, right? But you sure don't see any algae fields. So why would you know about it? Because it doesn't exist in your world, but it does exist and has been feeding the Aztecs and the other ancient peoples for centuries. But no one's explained it to you yet until now, and that's what I'm here for.
There's a lot here. There's a lot to digest here, and it looks like you've stumbled upon something that's not talked about a lot, but what I can see is if you don't feel this right now, if you're listening, this is like a tablet that you take every day.
Well, you don't take just one tablet, won't really do anything. You need a bare minimum of 5 a day. Better is 10 a day. 5 a day. But what I'm going to tell you is that the spirulina, both spirulina and chlorella, have not only the highest protein in the world, the highest chlorophyll in the world, they also have 40 vitamins and minerals. So when you take preferably both of them, but at least one of them a day, and you're going to need at least 10 tablets a day, you can eliminate almost all of your multivitamins, your CoQ10, your biotin, your fish oil for sure, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about spirulina, and possibly others, magnesium, potassium, so it declutters your countertop, number one. Number two, it saves you money because these are all in the algae. You don't need to buy 20 different vitamins anymore, all of which expire at different times, so it's very confusing. When you travel, you have to carry all of these different supplements, not with algae, it's just one. By the way, they travel really well, and we have these sell them in small pouches with 30 tablets. So if you took 10 a day, that's like 3 days right there. So it's really effortless nutrition. And when you take the Chlorella algae, because it has so much chlorophyll, although spirulina does as well, you never need to eat another vegetable. So it replaces your vegetables. You're not, I hardly have any groceries anymore because I eat so much of this algae. If you like sports, if you work out, you don't need a sport fuel. Take 15 spirulina tablets before a workout and you'll have the best workout of your life, or the best run of your life. And take the Chlorella afterwards. We'll talk about that in a minute, because it pulls out lactic acid and you'll have a faster recovery. So it replaces a lot of things, and it never goes bad. Never goes bad. Not like any other food, not like any other plant. You could we put an expiry date of 3 years on it, but you could have it for 5 years and it would still be fine.
I want to incorporate the healthy lifestyle here, and you've mentioned a lot of the great things about algae. And for us, the point of changing into our healthier lifestyle is largely to prevent diseases. You talked about the different benefits of algae in terms of being able to give energy, slow aging down. And if you're in a keto space, you would want to learn about this, because this is the whole point. Getting to the root cause of the problem is always the right way to go about this. And I understand that algae can protect and restore mitochondria, and we'll get to that in a second. And if you're not familiar with mitochondria, it is basically your cell's powerhouse, which converts fuel into energy. Is that right?
Yes. And before we get to that, though, I do want to elucidate a little bit on the differences between spirulina and chlorella, because they are quite different. The way you take them and when you take them is quite different. So spirulina, as I mentioned, has the highest concentration of protein in the world, and it gives you energy. So we call our spirulina ENERGYbits for that reason. We thought it was a lot easier to remember ENERGYbits than spirulina, which maybe people aren't familiar with. Not only does spirulina have the highest concentration of protein in the world, it's a complete protein. It has all nine aminos that your body can't make, and it has 18 of the 20 aminos. Now, since we're talking about protein, I want to show you this. This is how animal protein is bound up. It's bound up, all the aminos are all bound up, and it can take up to 3 days for your body to break down those aminos so they can get absorbed. And it's very inefficient. Sometimes you only absorb 10% of the aminos. Then you have collagen powder, which is in smaller clusters of aminos called peptides. And these get absorbed faster because there's fewer bonds. Algae protein are individual aminos, so they get absorbed instantly. It's the most efficient way to absorb your protein. And also spirulina is technically a bacteria. It does not have a cellulose wall. So the reason why people love it so much for energy and for satisfying their hunger and for intermittent fasting, so those of you on a ketogenic diet, you're going to love this. There are 0 carbs in either algae, 0, and 0 fiber in spirulina because it's a bacteria. So there's nothing for your body to break down to get access to all the high protein because they're already in amino acids. So it's very efficient protein, very efficient nutrition. And algae has the highest concentration of B vitamins. So B vitamins are what convert the protein and the aminos into energy. So athletes love it. We fuel NHL players. We fuel Olympic teams. They will put 75 of the spirulina tablets in their smoothie before a game, the hockey players, because they want energy on the ice. So they'll put 75. So this is food. Remember, we're talking food. It's like a nut. And you never have just one nut. You have a handful. So you have a handful of these when you wake up in the morning to start your day. It takes you seconds. It gets rid of the hangry. If you're doing intermittent fasting, it will get you on your day without breaking your fast. We've tested it. The science proves it. It does not break your fast. So ENERGYbits generally are taken in the morning for a hunger, for nutrition, to replace supplements. It's very efficient nutrition. And then you could have it as a meal replacement. Have another 15 or 20 for lunch. 1 calorie per tablet. Anybody who's trying to lose weight, we're entering the holidays, so I'm not sure it's going to be on anyone's agenda. But certainly in January. But it satisfies your hunger, cuts your cravings, gives you the nutrition you want in seconds. Great as a pre-workout fuel. And when we talk about the mitochondria, we'll talk about how it has the few key critical antioxidants that prevents the damage for your mitochondria. So you get energy instantly when you take it, like within minutes. Your brain fog is gone, your physical energy is back, but it also, as you're going to learn, protects your mitochondria for long-term cellular energy. So it's truly, ENERGYbits couldn't have been better named because it energizes you now and it energizes you later. So that's spirulina.
I think the key there, Catherine, is just the bioavailability of this. Right?
The bioavailability it can't be beat. It's unmatched, and that's why the athletes love it so much. Because also, if again anyone who is doing marathons, triathlons, any kind of endurance sport, if you take carbs and sugar, and if you're ketogenic, you probably aren't, but if you did, it upsets your stomach because it's very damaging to your stomach lining, and you don't have enzymes available for digestion when you're in the middle of a sport because your enzymes are doing other things. So there are no sugar, carbs, or caffeine or chemicals in algae, and because it absorbs so quickly, it virtually bypasses digestion. This is why it's good for anybody, newborns,
Catherine.
Kids, teenagers, grandparents. If you have compromised digestion, this is your answer because it literally requires no digestion and it has no fiber in it. So no lectins or oxalates either.
So Catherine, for people who are listening right now, and there's a lot here, and the benefits is bioavailable, which is the number one key thing for any nutrient dense food is sometimes the food might be dense, but it's not bioavailable, so it doesn't really work. So for people who are like, what what's the catch, Catherine? Is there a catch here? Because
Yeah,
it's
I
sounding
know.
like
I know
to
it.
somebody sounding like it's too
I
good to
know.
be true now.
I know. It does sound too good to be true. And if there weren't 100,000 studies documenting the benefits, if there weren't, there's 60,000 on spirulina and 40,000 on chlorella. We're talking 100 years of research, okay? This isn't just an occasional study. This is in every country around the world, from Korea to Japan to America to France to Germany to Poland. Every single country has done extensive research on the benefits of algae, everything from reducing cancer, improving gut biome, stopping heart disease, stopping Alzheimer's, improving your skin, improving your digestion, improving your sleep. You would think it's unbelievable, except it's all documented in NIH peer-reviewed studies in 100,000 collectively. So the problem is the science has not made its way out to the public. Scientists like to talk to other scientists, and they have science jargon. And so I read a statistic a while ago that said whenever there's a new discovery, it takes an average of 18 years for the scientific discovery to make its way down to the practitioner level. And then it's another 18 years for that to make its way down into the consumer, because there's stuff that gets out into the mainstream, and for the longest time we thought fat was bad for us, right? Wrong. Fat is good for us if it's the right fat. But it's people are still learning that now for the first time, because the dialogue and the conversation has been targeted against fat, and it was so wrong. So algae's been around and used daily in Asia for 60 years, and you can't fight with that kind of longevity and that they have the best health and the fact that there's these international agencies endorsing it. You just don't know about it because no one's told you about it until now.
I'm
and
getting
just
the
like
goosebumps here.
yeah,
Catherine.
yeah, it's going to change the world. There's no question about it. And so I'm excited to be the one sharing it with you. And I just tell people, get on the algae train, because it's going to be.
You're giving me the algae bug. You're giving me the algae bug.
It's your lifeline to everything, and you'll find out more.
I will have to keep educating myself on this, because there's a lot here that we have to get into, and it's impossible to get into all of these benefits, all of these history about algae. And obviously for somebody that's just has, like me, just encountering this now, and you've been doing this for many years now, about, you said 13 years, and we have a lot of catching up to do. And
yeah, that's okay. And that's why we're going to send you lots of links so you and your community can read more about it. And you can come to our website, ENERGYbits.com. We have a fair amount of information there, and we write a blog all the time. But I do want to swing over and talk about chlorella, because we've only spoken about spirulina, right? Okay. Spirulina, blue-green algae, which is why it's in a blue package, because it's a blue-green algae, has two pigments in it. Phycocyanin is a blue pigment, and it has chlorophyll, which is a green pigment. Now we're going to switch over to chlorella, which is a green algae, which is why it's in a green package. It only has one pigment, chlorophyll, but it has the highest chlorophyll in the world. Chlorella is called chlorella because of the chlorophyll. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula. It has 25 times more chlorophyll than liquid chlorophyll. And I tell people, why would you take liquid chlorophyll when you can take chlorella, which A, has more chlorophyll than liquid chlorophyll, plus it has 60% protein, 40 vitamins and minerals, RNA, DNA, K2, all these other great nutrients. So don't cheat yourself by taking liquid chlorophyll. Up your game and take chlorella. You'll get more chlorophyll and you'll get many other nutrients. So why is chlorophyll so important? Well, I'm going to show you a chart here. This chart shows you the chemical composition of chlorophyll and the chemical composition of your hemoglobin, your red blood cells. Notice that they're virtually identical. That's because chlorophyll builds your blood. It's been used for centuries for that reason. And when you have a healthy blood, you're going to have a healthier body, healthier digestion, healthier brain. Everything works better when your blood is nourished. And there's nothing that nourishes your blood better than chlorophyll. So that's number one. Chlorophyll builds your blood. Number two, chlorophyll, remember I said it's a pigment, is a fat-based pigment. And why is that important? Because all of your health issues, good and bad, start at the cellular level. We're going to talk about the mitochondria in a minute that are inside the cell. But first, let's talk about the cell wall. Your cell walls are made from lipids, also known as fats. And so your cell walls need to be nourished by healthy fats. We're not talking about the damaging omega-6s and seed oils like poisonous canola oil. Please, please, please stop ever taking anything that remotely looks like a canola oil. But if you have healthy fats, it keeps your cell walls porous. And that's important because a porous cell wall allows nutrients to get in and toxins to get out. And so we use things like omega-3 and D3 and vitamin E as healthy fats to keep our cell walls porous. Well, chlorophyll is a fat-based pigment, so it does exactly the same thing. It keeps your cell wall porous. So, and when you have damaged cell walls, the toxins can't get out, the nutrients can't get in, the cell becomes more acidic, which attracts cancer, reduces oxygenation, reduces the efficiency of your mitochondria, and it's a slippery slide down from there to all kinds of health conditions, whether it's weight gain, brain fog, cancer, whatever. So number 2, chlorophyll does build your cell wall. Number 3, chlorophyll and chlorella in particular has fiber. It has the hardest cell wall in the plant kingdom. Remember I said spirulina has no cell fiber and no cellulose wall, which is why it gets absorbed so quickly. Spirulina is a bacteria. Chlorella does belong to the plant kingdom because it has a hard cell wall. And that hard cell wall is so hard, it attaches to toxins and chelates them, which means it pulls them out. So it attaches to lead, mercury, radiation, aluminum, lactic acid, alcohol, any toxin, any heavy metal, lime, doesn't matter what it is, it detects it as a toxin and pulls it out. So it's very cleansing and detoxing. And also because there's fiber, the fiber in chlorella feeds your gut biome, and that's where your immune system resides. And so you need to feed your gut biome fiber in order to feed your gut biome so they can create what's called short chain fatty acids that create your health and help support your immune system. So because chlorella does all those things, it's a wellness algae. It's a cleansing algae, a detoxing algae, quite different from spirulina, which is an energizing, nourishing algae. So your body goes through a detox repair cycle when you're sleeping. So we generally recommend chlorella before bed. You can take it any time of day. You can take it in the morning, afternoon. Like I eat it all day long, by the way. But definitely take it before bed because while you're getting your beauty rest, chlorella is pulling out toxins, repairing your cells. It has the highest RNA and DNA in the world. Spirulina and chlorella have the highest melatonin in the world, so they help you sleep. Has vitamin K2, which moves out excess calcium out of your cells into your bones, so it prevents osteoporosis. So it stimulates peristalsis, also known as bowel movements. So it's very, very important to have chlorella before you go to bed. Now, the cool thing about chlorella is it tastes pretty good. Spirulina, most people swallow it because it's so high in protein and so high in essential fatty acids like omega-3. And it's very earthy. So I chew mine, but most people swallow them. Chlorella, the green one, tastes pretty good when you eat it with pistachio nuts or macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are ketogenic, by the way. So if you like to eat them, it's a great bedtime snack. And just like spirulina, if you took 10 a day, that would be enough to give you wellness support. But for detox, you need about 20 or 30 tablets. Because if you don't have enough, it will not pull the toxins out of your cells and all the way out of your body. So generally, we say spirulina is an AM algae. Chlorella is a PM algae. So morning, night. Another way to think about it is, and we'll talk about this in a minute, because spirulina has so much protein, so much essential fatty acids, and helps your mitochondria health so much, and the highest concentration of mitochondria are in your brain. This is amazing for your focus and for your brain health, for ADHD, for kids on the spectrum, for Alzheimer's. Anytime you need focus, spirulina is what you need. So think of spirulina as kind of working from your top down, and because chlorella builds your gut and your immune system, supports your colon, your elimination, think of chlorella as bottom up. So bottom up, top down, AM, PM. So, that really helps people understand what the differences between the two of them.
You got me. You got me with this. Do we have more?
Well, we actually, if you didn't want to buy them separately, we do have a blended version of algae called ENERGYbits, which is 50% spirulina, 50% chlorella. So if you just want simplicity, that's your answer. I encourage people, if they can, to buy them separately, because when you're hungry, spirulina is the only one that's going to satisfy your hunger. And if you are trying to build your immune system, if you're going through chemo, if you want to get more, detox, if you want to, replace your vegetables, that would be chlorella. And also it really helps with your sleep. So if you take them separately, you have a little bit more control over what it is that you want them for.
Awesome. So I just want to learn more about this, and I'm so happy that our listeners here get to get a taste of that. And if you need more information, it will be on the website. We'll put it in the show notes, and you guys can check it out. Whatever we discuss here will be in the show notes.
Absolutely.
For sure, so you can check that out. We just want to keep this going, keep learning more about this. This is great stuff. If you're on a keto diet, and we know what that bioavailability is the most important thing for us, because we want to just feed the body with the right nutrients and keep that energy going, right? I can see the energy right now from you, and it's giving me some energy. So that tells you that, and you're going. It's like Catherine right here has been going for 13 years, and it's like she's on her day one. So
exactly. I'm still on fire. Well, I was on Shark Tank about 5 years ago, and they laughed at me, and they said, we don't think you're serious about being an entrepreneur. You're just in love with algae. And I said, well, if you knew about as much about algae as I did, you'd be in love with algae too. And I've now have 5 years more knowledge, and I can hardly wait to tell you about the mitochondria piece, because that's going to, every single person in the world, but especially in North America, you need to be taking algae every day. There is not a single lifestyle food choice that it doesn't cooperate with. It's ketogenic, it's vegan, it's low carb, it's low cal, it has low fiber, it has it's zero carbs. I mean, it's easy, so you can take it with you everywhere. You don't have to mix it, you don't have to cook it. You just open your mouth and down the hatch. It doesn't get any easier than that. So it's I call it intelligent food, because you have to be intelligent to take it, and it knows what to do in your body. But I do want to address the mitochondria situation, because a lot of people do go on a keto diet because they do have health issues, whether it's weight loss or brain fog, or they're facing a chronic disease. And ketogenic diets are certainly one way to start getting on that healing path. If for no other reason, you eliminate carbs, which are so damaging to your mitochondria. It's like, gassing them, literally. Carbs are like car exhaust, and they exhaust your mitochondria. And when your mitochondria are exhausted, they can't generate energy for you, not only for thinking and walking, but they can't generate cellular energy. So nothing in your body is working properly. It's like having, a blown tire on your car. It doesn't work very well, or even two blown tires. So I'd like, if we can, I'd like to sort of dig into the mitochondria story a little bit.
Absolutely. Okay. And this is at least for our listeners right now that's very, very curious. It at least warrants for us to educate ourselves here, guys. So if you again, it will be in the show notes. If you want to keep educating yourself after the show, we will have that for you available in the show notes. So if you want to check that out after the show, do that. That's available to you. And right now we are going into mitochondria. Now we're saying that we can take this a step further from
exactly. If that wasn't enough, let me tell you a little bit more, and that will just convince you. By the way, if you are listening and you're at a website, you can go to our website, ENERGYbits.com. So as you mentioned, mitochondria they're called organelles, and they're inside every cell. And what they do is they generate this thing called cellular energy that energizes everything that happens in your body, whether it's lymphatic flow, heartbeat, thinking, synapses, digestion. Nothing happens without ATP from these little mitochondria. And just like, electricity fuels your, lights the lights in your house, or you plug in your phone to get recharged, you need mitochondria to live. And to put it into context, think of your body. I use this analogy a lot now. Think of your body like a big new skyscraper, okay? And inside the skyscraper are offices. think of your offices like your cells. Because inside each office or cell, there's different activities that go on. And different cells and different organs do different things, just like in different offices, they do different things. And in the offices, they have lights to be sure all the work can be done. Well, those lights in your cells are the mitochondria. Without the lights in the offices, work cannot be done. Without mitochondria, your cells and your body, your building, can't function. Now, here's the good news. When your building is first built, when you're first born, you have all these fabulous offices, cells, and you have all these fabulous office workers like antioxidants who keep the cells or the offices clean, and the lights, when they go out, they replace them. But as your building or your body ages, those people there's fewer of them. and the few that stay do a poorer job because they're overworked. Okay? This is what's happening to your mitochondria. So as your lights go out in your cells, there aren't the workers to replace them, so your lights go out. So there's less activity in the office, and the garbage doesn't get taken out, and then the carpet doesn't get cleaned, so it doesn't work very well, and so more lights go out, and then more lights go out until eventually there are no lights in your building, and that's when you have mitochondria disease. That's when you have metabolic disease. But the good news is we can reverse that, because your body is made of cells that constantly regenerate themselves. You have 30 trillion cells in your body, and every day 30 trillion die, and 30 trillion more are created. But if they don't have the nutrients they need to be rebuilt in a healthier fashion, you just get older, damaged cells, and that just keeps the lights off. So what you're going to find out today is what algae has they're very unusual nutrients, aren't found in any other food anywhere, that heal your mitochondria so your lights can come back on. And then your lights can come back on. And then before you know it, your building is renewed and you are healthy again. It's not a miracle. It's just giving your cells what they need to function optimally. Okay? So I want to set that as a context. So as I mentioned, mitochondria generate ATP. But a byproduct of ATP are free radicals. Now, the most free radicals are produced by carbs, sugar, and processed foods. This is why, and so when you have damaged mitochondria, as you just heard, you're going to have less ATP, less energy, you'll be putting on weight, you're going to have all sorts of diseases. And there should be a warning, just like on cigarettes, about carbs. These are killing us, literally killing us, okay? So, the first thing you want to do is reduce your carbs. Ta-da! Keto diet. Now, it doesn't even have to be keto diet. It could just be a low-carb diet, which means eating more protein, eating more complex carbs, but definitely fewer carbs. But the best way is through fasting, intermittent fasting or regular fasting, and algae, because fasting and algae create virtually zero carbs. So the first step to protect your mitochondria is just to change your eating habits. And those of you this is called the ketones in coffee, so I assume most people are at least approaching a ketogenic diet or are thinking about it. And as I said, you don't even have to be ketogenic. Just get those carbs down, and that alone will protect your mitochondria from so much damage, okay? So that's the first step. Now, the second step is to remove the free radicals that are caused. The first step was to reduce the free radicals. Now we're talking about removing them. But here's the problem. Your mitochondria are the only cell structure in your body with two membranes. Remember we talked earlier about the first membrane being a fat membrane? Well, there's one of those around the mitochondria, but they have a second inner membrane that does not, because the outer membrane has these they're called porins, they're little channels that allow proteins and antioxidants in and out to do stuff in the cell. But your mitochondria have a second inner membrane that is impenetrable by any of those antioxidants, vitamin E, vitamin C, nothing can get in there, okay? So, and here's the double whammy. Remember we said that your mitochondria is where the ATP is produced, and that's where free radicals are also produced? Well, that's also where your mitochondria DNA are. And when your DNA get damaged, your mitochondria are damaged. Everything gets damaged. The communications get damaged. Your cell structures get damaged. your DNA, mitochondria, because they have their own mitochondrial DNA, they have their own DNA, are getting fried every nanosecond. Even if you've reduced your carbs, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be free radicals. So we need to find a way to remove those free radicals from the inner membrane. But, and I'm going to show you another picture just so you can understand it. There's the cell, and then you have your nucleus, and then you have these mitochondria all over the cell. Now, just to show you how powerful these mitochondria are, there are 2 million mitochondria per cell in your brain. 2 million. It's crazy. That's why when you have Alzheimer's, it's a mitochondrial disease. The next highest concentration is 500,000 in every cell of your brain. And same with your muscles. Sorry, 5,000. But that's how powerful these are. When you have damaged mitochondria, everything slides down. So here's this little DNA inside the mitochondria where the free radicals are being produced, getting damaged all the time. And nothing can get into that inner membrane. But the good news is your body is aware of that. And so when you're born, your body creates the 3, and they're called endogenous, which means they're created by your body, 3 unique antioxidants, not found in food, and they're called, the 3 of them are glutathione, melatonin, and superoxide dismutase. These are the 3 antioxidants, the only 3 that can get into the inner membrane and stop the free radical damage. There's a 4th one, actually, called chlorophyll, not produced out of your body, but it also can get into that inner membrane. Now, when you're young, your body has lots of those, and which is great. But once you hit the age of 30, your production of mitochondria, your production of glutathione, your production of melatonin, it all drops. And that's exactly, by the time you get 30, you've started accumulating toxins. So your inflammation level is going up, your disease level is going up, and you're not getting the natural protection that you used to have when you were younger. This is why at age 40 and 50 and beyond, everyone's getting sick. Because the normal way to stop the free radical damage is no longer available because your body's just not making those antioxidants any longer. It sucks. It's just the way it is. So the good news is algae has the highest concentration of all 4 of those antioxidants: glutathione, melatonin, superoxide dismutase, and chlorophyll. So when you start taking algae, we flatline inflammation. And remember I said your cells are constantly regenerating? You will start seeing healthier mitochondria growing. We will start turning the lights back on in your building. You can restore your health naturally from food. No drugs, no surgery, nothing. And it's all been documented. Even superoxide dismutase, like I said, you have it when you're younger, but as you get older, it starts to drop. And you don't have to decline as you get older if your body has the nutrients it needs to protect the mitochondria. And superoxide dismutase, there's 50,000 studies on superoxide dismutase being proven to stop cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, proven. But there's no source of it in food except algae. And so superoxide dismutase and the other 3 antioxidants I told you about, they literally take the free radicals that are produced and neutralize them and turn them into water. Harmless water. So now your body is protected. You've reduced the number of free radicals by choosing to have a low-carb diet and either intermittent fasting or algae. And now you have the 3 nutrients that your body used to make but can't make after the age of 40 or 50. Now you're restoring those nutrients, and it's like, as I said, it's your insurance policy, because those are the only ones that can get into the inner membrane and stop the free radical damage. And there's a lot of science. I don't want to get too geeky, but it's very complicated. It's very complex. But I'm trying to give you the high level reason about what's going on.
Well, even if this is half true, this is amazing.
Oh, it's all true. No, it's all. It's not more than half true. It's all true. I won't say anything if I don't have the science to back it up. So I know it sounds almost too good to be true, but it is true. And I have lab tests to show the high concentration of superoxide dismutase, glutathione, and melatonin and chlorophyll. So I know. I have to pinch myself every day because it's like literally I have the algae, but it's not just any algae because here's why. Some of those nutrients like superoxide dismutase are enzymes, and enzymes are killed by high heat. They are denatured by high heat, and virtually every other algae company, which is low priced, high volume, they use high heat to dry their algae because they have to get to market quickly. And we have never used high heat to dry our algae because we're all about quality. I started the company because of my sister, and then I just wanted to help a few more people. Yeah. So our enzymes are active and alive, whereas the only other place in spirulina that you could get live superoxide dismutase would be in frozen spirulina, because again, no high heat has been used. So it's an enzyme, and so it would be still alive in the frozen spirulina. But frozen spirulina is, expensive, and you can't travel with it, and it's messy and it expires quickly. Yeah. Ours is easy to travel with. We have them in these little pouches, and the long expiry date, and it's effortless. Just throw them down and swallow them. So it makes it really amazing. Now, I wanted to tell you one final thing about, and explains why spirulina has two membranes, and every other cell in your body has one, right? And why algae has everything that can get into that inner membrane. And this will really flip you out, because it sure flipped me out. And again, this has been around for 60 years in evolutionary biology. It's just, I'm the only one that's connected the dots. So remember I said at the very beginning, algae was the first life on Earth about 4 billion years ago. So before algae, and it was a cyanobacteria like spirulina. Remember I said spirulina is a bacteria. It's called a cyanobacteria. Before that happened, Earth was just gas and water. No oxygen, no life at all. But for whatever reason, this little single cell, anaerobic cell started growing. Anaerobic because there was no oxygen on Earth. It started growing, and it produced ATP, and a byproduct of ATP is oxygen. So after about 1 billion years, there was enough oxygen for larger aerobic cells to start growing. Now, there was so much oxygen that the little anaerobic cell was struggling and wasn't doing so well, and the big aerobic cell wasn't generating ATP very efficiently, but it liked the oxygen. So this is sort of how the conversation, I can imagine, went. The big cell says to the little cell, "Hey, little guy, I see you're struggling there. How about we join forces, and we'll protect you from the oxygen, and you can generate ATP for us." And that's exactly what happened. So the little anaerobic cell, cyanobacteria, this is all scientifically proven, by the way. They discovered this in the 60s. Cyanobacteria by itself, then it gets absorbed by the big cell, engulfed, not digested, but engulfed, and stayed there and became mitochondria. Cyanobacteria became mitochondria. This is why there are two membranes on your mitochondria. There's the original one from when it was by itself as an anaerobic cell, and then there's the second membrane that was placed around it when it got engulfed by the bigger cell. And this is why algae has all of the three critical nutrients, 4 actually, glutathione, melatonin, superoxide dismutase, and chlorophyll, has all the 4 nutrients that can get into the mitochondria because they've always been there. That's where they started from. Amazing, right?
That is crazy.
That is crazy. You can't make this stuff up. A scientist from MIT back in the 60s discovered this, and she called it endosymbiotic theory, and she was ridiculed for 10 years, and then every single scientist around the world realized she was right. And you can go into the National Institute of Health library, and any article that talks about mitochondria talks about what I just showed you, that it came from cyanobacteria being engulfed by the larger cells and becoming mitochondria. Now we've learned that mitochondria determine everything that has to do with your health. Everything. So everything that you do should be to protect and support your mitochondria. And the best thing you can do, well, algae is number 1, also exercise and light, red light, whether from sunlight or red light therapy. Those are the 3 things that will stimulate, protect, and ensure the health of your mitochondria so they can ensure your health. It's it's almost too easy to be believed. We all want these fancy, complex combinations of foods and devices, and remember, we're from nature, and nature is simple, and also nature, it's been around a lot longer than we have, and all you need to do is observe nature, and you will learn how to heal yourself, protect yourself. It doesn't have to be complicated, and that's why I love algae so much. If you just swallow these tablets, at least 10 a day, more is better. It doesn't need to get any more complicated than that, and you will give your body and your mitochondria all the nutrition you both need to be optimally nourished for a very long time.
This is what we all want. Like everything that you've mentioned on this show today, this actually, like I said earlier, it at least warrants you to be intrigued into digging more into this. This is giving me like the same goosebumps that keto has given me in the beginning. Like, okay, keto do this, keto do that, and it's basically just eliminating carbs, which is so damaging into our cells that keto, the way you eat, is just giving you more energy. And with keto, actually, you're creating more mitochondria when you're fat adapted. So when you're switching to that, you're creating more. And this is almost like taking it a step further.
Yeah, totally up levels. Yeah. And even if you didn't do keto, if you just did this, you would still gain the benefits. But or low carb is clearly, grains were probably the worst invention of our universe.
We got a lot of research to do. Everybody here listening on the show today, I think, is from curious to intrigued to I want to learn more. This is something that's warrants that, at least gives us more information, and information is on your website.
Yeah, there's lots of information. We'll send you some links to. Knowledge is power. So I just tell people, empower yourself. I know this probably sounds too good to be true, but the science is there. I just encourage you to read about it. I've done most of the heavy lifting. I've done 13 years of research and read thousands and thousands of scientific papers, so you don't have to, but you're more than welcome to. You can find them if you go to PubMed yourself. But it is the truth, and it just needs to get out. I'm going to be doing a TED Talk about this as well, and writing a book. So algae is going to change the world. So the sooner you can get on board, the sooner you're going to start feeling the benefits. There's no need for this kind of illness, metabolic disease that we have. There's absolutely no need for it. And it doesn't have to be complicated. This is why I loved algae so much. It just simplified everything and gave you everything that you needed. And it was provided to us by Mother Nature. And we just grow it very carefully and safely. We do third-party lab tests here in the United States at an FDA-approved lab. We just give you the safety and the purity. Mother Nature, she created this for us. So just and just like you didn't know about kiwa or chia or matcha or CBD or collagen, algae isn't new. It's just new to you. And so just try to keep an open mind. Read as much as you can. Visit our website, ENERGYbits.com. By the way, we have a 20% discount code for your listeners. The code is LORENZM. All one word, no space or dot or anything. Uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter. LORENZM. And you'll get 20% off everything. So sorry about that. And remember, the Spirulina is the blue package. The Chlorella is the green one. The blue one is called ENERGYbits because it gives you energy. All right, it's a blue-green algae. Chlorella is a green algae. It's in a green package. It helps you recover your health. It's a wellness algae. And then we have the blended Vitality Bits. There is a second Spirulina that's in pink called Beauty Bits. And so we basically have a girl Spirulina and a boy Spirulina.
I'm all about biohacking here. If I don't need to take a million supplements here and it's simplified like this, just take it like that. Man, ENERGYbits.com, guys. Did we miss anything here, Catherine?
Well, the only other thing I want to mention is that I don't want people to have sticker shock. We do sell them in these large bags of 1,000 tablets, and they're $125 each. But what I want to tell you is that we use that quote from NASA that says 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits and vegetables. So I did the math and figured out that 1 bag of our algae has the same nutrition as 551 pounds of vegetables. Now, at $3 a pound, that would have been $1,600. So it's very efficient nutrition. I don't want you to think get sugar shock, sticker shock, because if you had 10 tablets a day, this would last you 3 months. This is 3 months of the equivalent of vegetables but no carbs, no waste, no stomach distress, no lectins, no oxalates, no work at all, no arguments, nothing. So it does save you money. It will certainly save your health. When it comes to your health, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. I think it just is the way it is.
Catherine, I think, you know what? I think algae, if you can research about algae, it's available online. You said there's 60 years of data on this, scientific evidence on this, and I think it suffers from, there's dangers in big claims like this, right? Like people,
oh yeah,
I think it suffers from that, and I think everyone who's listening right now, I implore you to just look into it, educate yourself about it. You don't have to take it, like just educate yourself.
Just learn about it.
You're
absolutely right. Yeah, just learn about it. You'll know when it's resonating with you. You know when you've hit the truth.
It's giving me goosebumps right now. Like,
but, take the time. Just take the time to inform yourself. I'm not here to push the product on anybody. I'm 66 and I'm proof that this stuff works. My brain is alert. My body is working really well. I sleep really well. I don't have any wrinkles. I just want other people to have the same benefits. But the first step is to learn about it. Yeah. The second step is to inform yourself. So now that you know it exists, go to our website, ENERGYbits.com, or go to PubMed, or go online, and you'll start finding all the same stuff that I've been telling you.
On that note, I wanna point this out, that if you want to learn about anything in life, you have to start with the beginner's mind, meaning having a beginner's mind. I learned this from Jim Quick, Limitless, the book. He said, if you want to learn anything, forget about what you know, just temporarily suspend what you know about the subject, the topic, and have a beginner's mind. That's why children can learn quicker than adults, because they have a beginner's mind and they're just picking things up. So if you want to learn about this, have an open mind, have a beginner's mind, and start there.
Yeah. Good. A very, very good point. You're absolutely right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catharine Arnston, for coming on and sharing your story. Everything you need to know is on the description box below in the show notes. Catharine, where can people find you? Learn about this stuff.
Well, ENERGYbits.com is the website. We're also active on social, Facebook, Twitter. It's all Instagram at ENERGYbits. And we have lots of fun, promotions there. You can join our newsletter. So just come to ENERGYbits.com. We do an email once a week about cool stuff. So, it's good stuff.
And don't forget, I have a code LORENZM. It's LORENZM if you want to. It's about 20% off your first purchase there.
And for those people living in America, that Z, because I'm Canadian, so I know Z is Z. So it's LORENZM for your American listeners.
Awesome. That's a great point. Yeah. Thank you so much, Catharine. Again, it's an honor. Love to have you on the show here, and thank you again.
Thanks a lot.